Welcome to Fastbreak Breakfast, NBA podcast. My name is Keith. I'm joined once again through the miracle of computer phone with my buddy, John Burr.
Are you sure you want to interrupt our discussion of the Michael Crichton film adaptation of his book Sphere to talk about NBA basketball?
No, I'm not, John. I specifically wanted to get our conversation about the film adaptation of the Michael Crichton novel Sphere on the record. I wanted it to become canonical as we discuss it. As AI has taken over the world, the pop culture, everyone doing AI, our earliest, I feel like, impression of something close to AI is the entity in the film novel Sphere that when I read that as a child, there was a glorious summer. Some kids, they remember the halcyon days of being 12, 13, of making friends, being in love, having unrequited crushes, going on camps. No. I spent that summer reading Michael Crichton novels. I read them all.
Yeah.
I saw things from Rising Sun I should not have seen.
Shouldn't have read Rising Sun.
Shouldn't have read Rising Sun.
Mother, what is semen?
There are both sexual terminology I did not know, also racial epithet terminology I did not know. But Sphere was incredible.
It's the best one.
It was like my favorite book as a kid.
Maybe Jurassic Park. Maybe Jurassic Park is better, but Sphere, when he's talking to the AI, Jerry, I believe.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, that's basically what we're going to all be doing pretty soon.
So we were discussing how, I mean, again, that was, you remember a few things from your childhood. And one of them is I remember the chills I got reading a book. And it's when Jerry starts talking. And I was like, oh my God. And it freaked me out. And the film adaptation was a massive letdown. I haven't gotten over it. Much like reading the Crichton novel Timeline was a massive letdown. Maybe one called Time Frame. I don't remember late Crichton, but I read them for a while before I'm finally like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know who this is for.
I can bring this back to basketball.
Thank you.
Michael Crichton was 6'7".
Huge. And you know how I've adapted Michael Crichton into my current life is my Prime Video algorithm.
Rewatching Westworld?
No, my Prime Video algorithm pitching me movies directed by Michael Crichton when I didn't know he had this entire career as a film director. There are some wild Crichton directed films that are very entertaining. The one that goes into a coma, I stopped watching that. I didn't love it. It was too stressful.
That's a great movie. Actually.
I don't want to judge it on the film's quality. I'm saying where I was as far as watching movies for relaxation, couldn't handle it. What's the one with Tom Selleck with the robots?
That's called Runaway, I believe.
Runaway. That movie's incredible.
The bad guy is Gene Simmons.
Gene Simmons, bad guy. Tom Selleck as the sexiest dad to ever live in that movie.
I think Karen Allen is in there, or the lady from RoboCop. I think.
Here's I'm going to tie this into basketball as we keep talking about movies before we get to our breakfast, before we get to our hardcore NBA analysis and discussion. John, have you seen the feature film?
If you don't want to talk about Looker, we don't have to talk about Looker. But
I don't know what that is.
Oh, it's the craziest Michael Crichton.
Oh, is it?
It's another kind of AI-ish. It's about making computer generated sexy ladies.
Yeah. So this goes back also to how
Albert
the
Finney.
HBO series Westworld, one of the biggest crushing disappointments of my life, because it is perfect source material. Source material. It's like,
it's a cool movie.
And the original movie is really cool. And it's like, hey, it's Jurassic Park, but in a Wild West theme park with robot cowboys. It's like, oh my God, that sounds perfect. And what HBO did, I will never forgive them for. Anyways, have you seen the feature film about basketball starring Ben Affleck called The Way Back?
I have. Rules.
What were you? I'll go ahead and tell you my impressions. I give it the same star rating I give every film that I think did not fall on its face completely. Yeah, 3 stars. That's fine. However, Ben Affleck's basketball coaching in that movie.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Is literally
just kid level.
It's literally just the things that sports call-in callers say.
Mm-hmm.
It is nonstop hustle, Play smart. Take charges. We're
Dad
going to
style.
press all game.
Do you not remember being a young white basketball player? Very accurate.
He said over and over, like every huddle, Ben Affleck looks at him in the eye and goes, we're smaller. Use that to our advantage.
I'll never forget.
How, brother? Why don't you tell us how as the coach?
I'll never forget being in, and I don't know why this exists, but Dale Murphy basketball camp.
Oh, okay. It's a Georgia thing.
It was at Reinhardt College.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be like, you had to make your league's all-star team to even go. Still, right. Dale Murphy, don't understand it. But it was run by his 7 Mormon sons and
tax-free income, John. That's your explanation.
18 Mormon brothers.
Yeah.
And they would like Stacey King came and spoke, and nice. Cliff Levinson spoke, and then some guy who had just won high school player of the year came and spoke.
Okay.
He couldn't have been more than 5'9".
Yeah.
And he looked us in the eye and told us the single most important thing we can do. And it was unspoken because it's like mostly white people.
Yeah.
We can do is learn to take charges.
It's important. It's important.
So that's where we used to be.
That's amazing.
It might still be in the minds of a 58-year-old guy who writes that movie.
Yeah, whoever wrote that,
good.
Whoever wrote the movie's got some powerful stuff. Honestly, it should have come with a content warning about child cancer and child death. I don't want that in my basketball movies. Tell me this is up front so I can make an informed decision before I watch it.
Anything Affleck, Casey, Ben, otherwise,
yeah,
you're running the risk of some gruesome child death.
But that's so true. But all the basketball coaching scenes when it was just like, I don't know, trap them everywhere. That's how we're gonna win. Like, that doesn't actually work. Anyways, when I was a kid at a Vanderbilt basketball camp, Charles Davis spoke to us.
Oh,
so Charles Davis, awesome. I just looked this up.
Go Vols.
Played. He went to Vanderbilt. Don't be
really. Why do I think Charles Davis is
I don't know who you're thinking of, but he went to Vanderbilt. He's from Nashville. He played over 400 games in the NBA, which I've just looked up. Here's what he told us.
I'm thinking of the football player and announcer Charles Davis.
Okay. Here's what I remember. Here's the only thing I remember Charles Davis telling us from Vanderbilt basketball camp. He goes, "Hey, when you're in the NBA, you got to stick around. And one way to stick around is to get good rebounding stats. And one way to improve your rebounding stats is every end of the quarter heave has to have a rebound." So I went and chased every one of those down.
That's kind of like taking charges.
Isn't that amazing? That's amazing. I don't even think it's true. Like, you don't get credit.
Wow. He went to McGavick High School, dude. That's down the street from me.
He went to McGavick, right by you. Again, the one thing I remember him telling 10-year-old Keith 3 years before I read Sphere by Michael Crichton, was this NBA player telling me one way to stick around is to pad your rebounding totals by trying to track down every end of the quarter missed shot. You go run the ball down, you take it to the scorekeeper just so they know that you got that rebound.
When you went to basketball camps that had like what are now AAU level players, is that like the moment you realized, not good enough to
I honestly
play this meaningfully?
I could not have ever played the game meaningfully, but I always did pretty good at those camps. And to the point where one of my life regrets, like we all have, like all dumb men have life regrets of like, I could have been more as an athlete, and they're all delusional. And I recognize my delusion, but at all these camps, I always did pretty well. And to the point now, a great regret is like, why didn't I just play basketball for my high school team and try to make like some terrible college?
Oh, you didn't play high school?
No, I dominated church leagues. And I did it because I did it because like I was a musician, and I thought, I got to do marching band and do music stuff because I'm a piano player. I for my college resume, I need to have all this music stuff. My older brother played freshman basketball. He didn't enjoy it. My older brother is an introvert, very shy. I am not. So like his experience.
Your older brother is Hamed Haddadi. Not many people know that.
My older brother looks exactly like Hamed Haddadi, like in Westworld, where they only have so many templates to create robots. God used the same template with Hamed Haddadi and my older brother. Anyways, John, let's do our breakfast. What have you had for breakfast?
I've had nothing so far. Usually
Okay.
I would go to McGaw's, but we're getting an extra start. But I have to tell you about my new breakfast routine.
Love it.
I go to a place called Jay's Family Restaurant.
I thought you made me bleep this out of a previous episode. I'm not bleeping it out
Oh,
today.
no, dear God.
You
Well,
just proudly announced it, and they get a free plug. There you go.
I go somewhere between 3 and 7 times a week.
Yeah.
I'm ashamed to say. And it's incredibly, it's a time warp.
Yep.
And I've gotten to the point where all of the waitresses who are on varying levels of opiates or methamphetamine, depending on who you get, all know what sports teams I root for, that's when you truly know someone.
Well, you frequently wear paraphernalia. I mean, they could.
Sometimes, I mean, that's more of like I'm going to a watch party. I'm going to.
That
put
is
on
true.
things.
I mean, you're a fine dresser, and you do take great care. So you're.
And on this, when I show up on streams, I'll try to watch them. I'll try to support my team and stuff. But to be honest, like I just have a bunch of stuff by the camera to put on. I don't typically wear sports garb out.
Right.
But
much like I don't wear sandals, you don't wear sports garb.
Like they know
people are going to see you. Yeah.
Like we've been having an ongoing discussion this week. Like, am I going to fly to go see Tennessee?
Oh,
play in March Madness because they're in the and I thought they were playing in Louisville, so I've been planning all week. I'm going to drive to Louisville to see Tennessee. Found out yesterday they're not in Louisville. They're in New York. They're in the New York bracket. So now I'm trying to manufacture a business trip.
John, didn't you years ago sneak your way into a Tennessee in the NCAA tournament game in New York, and you didn't tell your partner?
This is the sequel to this.
Okay.
I'm now trying to concoct a business trip where I go to New York to do something work related.
Yeah.
And then go see Tennessee lose to Florida Atlantic.
I don't know. I assume I know for a fact your communication levels with your significant other are far more involved than what they are with me. But I do know you frequently have like, hey, I'm in Vegas, I'm in New York, I'm in LA. It's constant. So I don't know if you could just drop that, like, hey, I got to be in New York this week. If you needed any more details than just saying that.
It used to be a lot easier before I had a child. Now there's like this constant.
You messed up.
Yeah. There's this. I like to say that like it has ruined my life in every single way, but is like my favorite thing I've ever done. Like,
no, that's the best description of parenting.
Yeah, that's it is like my life is completely ruined.
Yeah. I can't watch movies with child cancer anymore. It's ruined it for me. I used to love them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, a child dying was no skin off my back, and
it's just a plot device.
My every moment.
Common plot device. Love it.
I forgot to to properly close the child's car seat.
Yeah.
About 4 days ago, and have not slept in 3 days.
No,
I just think about it all
lots
the time.
Of those. Yeah. It's that nonstop. Yeah. It's great.
But yeah. I'm trying to manufacture the sequel.
Right.
So I'm in the process of just finding something to do in New York that's work related.
There you go.
And going to it. I will provide updates as we go. I'd say I'm like 95% going.
Yeah.
I mostly just have to convince a friend of the show, Eric Wilson, to go with me because I don't want to go by myself. Also, if I go to a Tennessee sporting game by myself, we will lose on a buzzer beater. It's happened twice this season. I can't keep doing it. So I need to bring somebody else's energy with me. I wanted to, and I'm still considering maybe going to Memphis for Jaws' return today.
Oh, today? Might as well.
Mm-hmm.
You missed the big Ringer show on Tuesday night.
I had tickets to that and tried to give tickets away in our Slack, but no one wanted them.
That's rough.
It's hard out there for a live podcast.
I've been thinking about going to. I haven't been to Memphis this year. It's been a failure of me. A lot of it is I can blame on parenting, and also just my lack of planning in my life, which is one of the defining features. But also I've been thinking about taking my son out of school because he played in this junior Grizzlies basketball league in Nashville, and one of the things they give you like a free ticket to a game, but they only give you weeknight tickets. So I was like, I can't take my 8-year-old to a Tuesday night game. It's kind of awkward. But I've been thinking, you know what? I might go to the Magic game next Tuesday and just take him out of school for Wednesday. See if Rise and Grind with Jessica Benson wants to have an 8-year-old on the show on Wednesday morning. I'm going to try that. I'm going to reach out to CJ, see if we can make that happen. But yeah, I've been thinking about that.
Can I highlight this incredible 2 Twitter threads I discovered?
What is this?
This guy named Melvin Purdy started comparing Memphis barbecue places to NBA centers.
Yeah.
And also Memphis wing joints to NBA point guards. And we almost never do the sports talk radio thing of just pilfer someone else's content.
Just take someone's Twitter. Yeah.
These are so good though. I mean, we'll do it very quickly because it's so
very
Memphis.
Quickly. This is extreme regional.
So Memphis, but Central Barbecue was Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yeah, sure.
Barbecue shop was Kareem.
Oh, okay.
Rendezvous was Bill Russell, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Haynes was Joel Embiid. And then your favorite, you're a cozy corner guy.
I'm a cozy corner guy, yeah.
Shaq.
I like it.
That's a big corner chandelier.
I like it. Yeah, that's some good stuff. What is your breakfast, by the way, at this restaurant that you regret saying the name of?
When you go somewhere 5 to 7 times a week, you can't just keep getting the whole ham, which is my favorite.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
So I'm trying to branch out and even try things like oatmeal. Didn't know this.
Oatmeal from a restaurant is like that's like some Raymond Carver or film noir type detective thing, it feels like.
So if I'm trying to go super light, like yesterday, I wasn't trying to kill myself with it. I just got some toast.
Yeah.
And 1 piece of bacon.
Dude.
You're
a private dick from a hard-boiled detective novel.
It's insane. And I don't even drink
toast
coffee
and
or anything.
Bacon.
And I'm trying to wean myself off of.
Well, if you're not drinking coffee, in my mind, in this fictional story, it seems like you'd order like a glass of whole milk or something.
Here's the deal: I bring such amazing Dashiell Hammett type characters like my buddy Chris Crofton and Bubba Wilson that I'm providing the private dick, and I'm just like the tertiary character that shows up and gets killed.
You're the John Burr.
I'm the third man.
Yeah. I do, by the way, shout out the Dashiell Hammett character or Summer Leaguer Game of Scones, annual Game of Scones quiz. Always very, very fun. My breakfast I had left over. I poured a bowl of Frosted Flakes for my 5-year-old, and then they reminded me, Dad, it's Wednesday. It's Pop-Tart Wednesday. Yeah, we have a...
Is that it's actually not real, or is this...
We do have Pop-Tart Wednesday. Okay. It is unfortunately not sponsored, and I'm now just realizing I should try to get it actually sponsored so I can mention it on the show. That would be a good little scheme. But I had the Frosted Flakes that I poured for her while she looked at me angrily for forgetting that it was Pop-Tart day, and she got to have 1 Pop-Tart. And so that's what I had for breakfast. Anyways, those are our breakfast. After our breakfast, we move on to our breakfast in bed apologies.
I do want to someday do fast food restaurants and compare them to small forwards.
You should definitely do that. We are now 18 minutes into the show, and we'll talk more about the NBA, we think. Breakfast in bed apologies. What's something you got wrong on a previous episode that you would like to atone for and make right?
Oh, there's just too many lately, but it's time to, at least for a moment, to retire the comma who sucks that
Mike
was
Conley,
once applied to Mike Conley, because the last 2 Jazz games I saw were like 2 of the best Mike Conley performances I'd ever seen.
Are you back? Yeah. I'm sorry. Were you watching this on League Pass from previous seasons? Did you mean to say Timberwolves games?
Oh, excuse me. Timberwolves games. Yes.
I love that you were just watching old Mike Conley Jazz games. I feel like that story's even better.
I kind of get why he wasn't good on the Jazz, because it doesn't seem nearly as fun as the group of guys.
He was an all-star on the Jazz, John.
Yeah, he sure was. But I even saw him doing amazing kind of athletic things again, which I thought we were just past that.
Yeah.
And then you remember that these guys are the greatest athletes in the world and keep themselves in great shape well into their 30s. And it's just oh yeah, Mike Conley doing the damn thing. But he seems to be a beautiful fit there. And this is a Timberwolves team that has a lot of really talented players, and he was the best player in that game that I watched. And statistically, the plays he was making, it was kind of mind blowing. And
so I agree with you.
I have to retire it for at least until the playoffs.
Yeah. Until the 2 for 13 in the playoffs. The fit of Mike Conley on there. I mean, we praised it. We thought it was going to be good. I honestly am surprised the Timberwolves aren't better. I keep thinking they're winning all their games, and then I'm like, oh, they're still hanging out at the bottom of that play-in type race. Of course, the huge story
just waiting for the Mavs to show up.
Well, Karl Anthony Towns is possibly going to play tonight on Wednesday night. If he doesn't play tonight, they have, I think, 3 days off after today. So it seems like definitely the next game, Karl Anthony Towns is back, and we love Kyle Anderson, you and me. And it seems like he's been awesome for them. So it's going to be a big question. How do you integrate, Karl Anthony Towns back to this team? Again, this team, like, the West is so wide open, and it seems like literally anyone could win a first round series. And I'm not even joking. Like, maybe the Nuggets are the one team where you're like, they're not going to lose the first round series, but like, what if it's Nuggets? I mean, it could be Nuggets healthy Mavs. Like the 8th seed could be the Mavericks or the Warriors or the Clippers. We don't know about the Clippers with the Paul George injury occurring late Tuesday night. Actually, John, I'm going to ask you, if you were handicapping the West, I had someone reach out and ask, who do I think is most likely to come out of the West? And I picked the Nuggets. I think the Nuggets are the most likely, but I do not think there is a favorite to come out of the West. I think I would put the Nuggets at like, what do they got, like a 25, 30% chance? Maybe.
You don't think the Suns are going to end up as the favorite?
What are the odds that the Suns are fully healthy? So I have to factor that in. I think the fully healthy Suns are the best team in the West. And if you could guarantee me that Kevin Durant is totally fine and Chris Paul stays healthy, then okay, I think the Suns now have the best odds of coming out of the West. But like, I feel like I'd put it at like, I don't know, 20, 30% Nuggets, 25% Suns. And then after that,
I'm going to try to actually look this up.
And then after that, I don't know what to do. I guess I can look at the 538. We'll see what the computer says. See what Jerry says.
Yeah. And then there's that moment that you realize you're actually talking to oh dang it, who was that guy who played for the Kings who was named Harry? That's the only NBA player I can think of.
All right, so I'm looking this up.
It's already Suns on top.
Can I tell you what 538 says?
Sure.
538 says the Grizzlies are the most likely team to come out of the West. Because I was just thinking this, that like when I did it myself, like again, I just now looked at 538. Before that, I was thinking like 30% Nuggets, 25% Suns, and then I'd probably throw 10% at the Warriors. And then I'm like, all right, is the Grizzlies 10%, 15%? Do the Kings get 10%?
The Kings are still plus 2,500 and the 8th team on the odds list, which is amazing.
Like, I would throw I throw the Mavs like a 10%. I throw the Warriors 10, maybe 15, maybe give them more credit. The Clippers might be done if George is out. But like 538 says the chance of making the finals, Grizzlies 28%, Nuggets 28%. So Warriors 14%, Suns 8%, Mavs 8%, Timberwolves 5%. Like this is basically what I'm saying. They give the Lakers and Clippers 4% and 3% odds respectively, and they also hate the Kings.
I mean, I hate to say this, but I would move the Lakers up a lot higher. And I also want to say that in no way is this an endorsement of any team in the Western Conference besides the Suns.
Right.
Because it's just a trash fire. Like
somebody got to win. You got to eat. Like it's like, just something's somebody's got to win the game in the series.
Like picking, especially as often as I watch the Nuggets, which invariably involves road games, picking the Nuggets to win anything brings bile to my throat. Like it's just it's not something you can have any confidence in. In a weird way, that Grizzlies thing makes some sort of sense. But then again, like I don't think the Grizzlies are kind of designed for playoff success. So like it's just going to be, and then teams like that I used to like count on who are like, oh, they're going to make some noise or imploding. Clippers and the Mavs, like
the Paul George injury, and I don't have any updates. If it might have come out, we're talking at 10 a.m. on Wednesday morning.
Also, I think Dort ended Kawhi Leonard's career last night. So
also that referee who was signed 3 points to 3 technical fouls in like 2 seconds. That's outstanding work. But like if Paul George is out, that's a cross off. That's just a clip. Like I don't think the Clippers can win the title. I don't think the Timberwolves can win the title. I don't think. I mean, I guess like the Kings could, or at least not win the title.
Win the title?
No. I'm sorry. Excuse me. I misspoke.
Okay.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Come out of the West. Come out of the West.
I think there's like 5 teams in the East better than
so again, but this goes back to like there's 5 teams in the West. If we're saying what Warriors, Mavericks, Suns, Nuggets.
I'm still off Warriors.
Mavs,
I know we've talked about it all year, but I just don't see it.
I don't know how you could be that bad all the time.
They seem terrible to me.
I mean, Wiggins is going to play again, I think, maybe.
And I know, is it just because we're scarred by, we were like, okay, we're going to let Andrew Wiggins beat us, and then he did? Like, did that mess us up?
Ha, ha, ha. They're starting Draymond and Kevon Looney.
Yeah.
Whoops. Good job, Mike Brown. Now Mike Brown's the coach of the year on the Kings. I apologize for anything I might have ever said that could be interpreted as a slight to Mike Brown. Yeah, I don't know. The West is very, very wide open. I would
handicap it. I would.
Yes,
I think
what's your handicap?
Phoenix, Denver.
I want you to assign percentage points if you can do that. I didn't even do mine to add it up to 100. I'm gonna try to add up to 100 real quick on a scratch paper.
Okay. I'll go like 70% Phoenix.
Wow, that's massive favorites, John.
I just think they have the 2 best players that I would want. The 2 best players like to go get a bucket. They have them on the same team. So they're going to be just very difficult to stop in the half court, and then they also just have talent all along the roster, which I can't really say. I can say like Memphis has plenty of talent, but just something. I don't know if it's just I've been stuck with them all year, and I just have too many bad feelings saved up, despite having a lot of fun and loving this team, or I just don't believe in it. But to me, it's not close as far as roster talent. And then they just have in Booker and Durant 2 players that I find loathsome, but that are absolutely incredible, particularly at end of games and in half court sets. Denver, I think just by virtue of having one incredible player, I would set second at like, so what I said, like 60 or 70% for Suns. Denver, I'll do 10%.
Wow. Well, so I'm.
And then I'm going to start, and then I'm in the single digits for every other team.
Well, so I'm not sure your math's going to work out that way. Oh, I guess so. Yeah. So
it's going to be
out. So you guys, you have massive favorites for the Suns. Mine, and this is not a power rank because of the seeding, because of the teams that have won games and have no chance of ending up in the play-in, they get a huge boost probability wise. Like I'm gonna put
Memphis third.
Yeah, like the Warriors, Mavericks
with 2%.
The Warriors and Mavericks can both end up in the play-in, and so that one of them
are going to end up in the play-in.
Yeah, one of them looks like they probably certainly are at least. Here's what I'm doing.
I would not be surprised if Luka just comes back and Dallas beats someone in the first round. Like not
right.
surprised.
And again, I don't think anyone's going to be surprised if the Warriors upset. I guess he'd be like, you wouldn't be shocked if they upset the Nuggets. Like that's just something like, all right, well that happened. Draymond, Clay, Wiggins, and Steph turns out really, really good. Their Warriors starting lineup still has the best net rating in the NBA. They just never ever play together. Here's my probabilities. I'm gonna say Denver 30%, Phoenix 25%, Memphis 15%, Mavericks 11%, Warriors 10%, Lakers 3%, Kings 3%, Thunder, Clippers, Jazz, Minnesota 3% combined. So
man, I think the Thunder would whoop the Kings' ass in a playoff series.
Really?
Yeah.
The Thunder have they're 8-2 in their last 10.
Yeah.
The Thunder have gone from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doesn't play back-to-backs anymore. We have to make sure we monitor this core injury to being like, hey, wait, we're in 7th. I would give Shai's playing again, guys.
Jalen's an all-star.
The core's better. The core muscle, all better. Shai's going to be playing back-to-backs now. I love it. I mean, again, the thing I was most wrong this season, if you go back to preseason predictions, Thunder. Not only did I think they would pull the plug.
Who among us?
Well, I
don't want to play the Lakers in the first round. Like, I don't want to.
Yeah.
I'm strangely more afraid of the bottom of the bracket as a Grizzlies fan, as opposed to I think I'd rather play the Kings than like the Lakers or the Thunder. Like it's a really strange scenario with really strange matchups.
Well, a lot of that isn't that based on the shame of losing to a specific team. For me, I would rather lose. It feels more respectable to lose to a 7 seed or 6 seed Warriors or Mavs than the Lakers.
Can we assess
losing
this
to the
honestly?
Lakers as a Grizzlies fan would just be shame.
Can we assess this honestly as Grizzlies fans and just have like a fear index?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm ranking the teams I don't want to lose to, it's Lakers 1, by a mile. Thunder maybe 2, but that would be kind of hilarious, and I think I would be actually a little bit okay with it. I don't think I'm just coping. I worry about that Thunder matchup.
I feel good now about Clippers because Paul George is dead. I feel good about Sacramento because we whooped that trick.
I wouldn't know. What are your? Oh, you're saying fear. Who do you actually fear about playing?
I feel good about. I feel good about Denver.
The worst if we end up losing to.
Where do you feel about Denver, though? I feel like we could beat Denver.
I think the Grizzlies match up pretty well with Denver.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. I'm just saying this shame.
What did we learn today? Nothing.
Like, I'm going to feel no shame. If we lose to the Timberwolves, no shame. If we lose to the Mavericks, no shame.
Ooh, I'd be filled with shame about the Timberwolves.
I mean, it would be regrettable. Maybe we made some roster building mistakes.
Yeah, if Conley and Shlomo beating
Conley and Mike, Conley and
you're gonna next time you see me, I'm gonna have shaved a mohawk into my head.
Although
be wearing like all fatigues. You don't want that.
I mean, Anthony Edwards has a month to get his ankle right, so hopefully he's gonna be cool. Let me do my apology. Couple of things. One, when discussing which MVP candidate had the best supporting cast on last week's episode, I did briefly forget Tyrese Maxey existed. I don't know if the listener noticed, but that's on me. I forgot that. It's just the bright North Star of Melton is right.
The Maxey Melton minutes together, those are the best.
And it's hard for me to see anything else. Just my peripheral vision is blinded by Melton being so bright. The eclipse of Melton made me briefly forget Maxey. Also, when we did the multiple International Stackhouse of Pancakes Awards, I said that's the correct plural. International Stackhouse of Pancakes Awards. Someone pointed out that the plural of International Stackhouse of Pancakes is International Stackhouses of Pancakes.
Right.
And I don't know if they're right, but I do know this is now like a butter side up, butter side down controversy. It's ripping us apart. It's ripping apart our listeners. And I don't know what the correct thing is, but I am sorry for starting this civil war. Anyways, those were our apologies. Before we get to our steak and eggs best thing, a word from our sponsor, all Grizz all the time. Stay connected and follow at MemGrizz and at Grind City Media across all social channels, including Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for breaking news, one-of-a-kind content, and all the perspectives you won't find anywhere else. All right, steak and eggs best thing. Speaking of the Grizzlies, I'm going to help myself first. Dillon Brooks is my best thing, John, because
kudos to you.
He is a magical source of content.
Oh my God.
He has been suspended for the game on Wednesday night for doing a little dance.
One of the weirder tees you'll see, but in this week you can't really compare it to.
He was yelling at Theo Pinson. He called Theo Pinson a cheerleader. First of all, the Theo Pinson versus Dillon Brooks showdown, where Dillon Brooks got a technical foul for taunting Theo Pinson on the bench.
Good reminder who he played for.
And then subsequently got suspended. Did Theo Pinson win that battle, or did Dillon Brooks win the?
Yes.
Well, Dillon Brooks won the game.
I'd say Dillon Brooks won the battle. Theo Pinson won the war. Although they're not playing Dillon Brooks the next game, so it doesn't really apply.
I'm saying, well, so they're not playing.
Okay, let's look at it this way. He got Dillon Brooks
a
technical from the bench.
Yeah, that's
that is a
good.
value add from the bench.
It's literally yeah. If you earn a point while you're not playing, you did a good job.
However, we have to talk about this holistically. If you take the entire season, Dillon Brooks has been mostly terrible.
He's had a rough year.
So I don't know if you want to get Dillon Brooks out of the game. Did Theo know that Dillon was going to go insane and sun everybody? Dillon Brooks has been on a tear lately. So this is a complex question.
Yeah, so Dillon Brooks had a magical Friday and Saturday. He was a huge part of the Grizzlies erasing a 29-point Spurs lead. He hit the tying three with about a second left. He then thoroughly outplayed Steph Curry on both sides of the court in the win over the Warriors. Was 4 for 4 from three. So first of all, Dillon Brooks, sorry, he gets suspended for this game, for tonight's game at the dance. But the content doesn't stop there. The content is he has gotten a microphone now in his face, and he keeps giving us thing. Here is what Dillon Brooks had to say about getting suspended, and he's now lost close to $300,000 in fines and suspensions this year. Dillon Brooks says it's just paper. Well played. Kudos to you. By the way, Ja Morant and Dillon Brooks, this is how I know we're big time, John. This is how I know the Grizzlies are now big time. Ja Morant and Dillon Brooks have lost $1 million in fines and suspensions this year combined. Woo! That used to be for the big market teams in my mind. Anyways, Dillon Brooks tried to do a jersey swap.
This means you've made it.
Tried to do a jersey swap with Kyrie Irving that was not reciprocated.
Yes. The only thing that I wish was different, I wish Dillon hadn't then like kissed Kyrie's butt.
No. Let me finish.
Okay.
Please.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Upon the lack of reciprocation for this jersey swap, Dillon Brooks said, "I will sign his jersey myself and hang it on my wall." And these are real quotes. All right. I like worked hard to find out these quotes are real. The it's just paper thing about losing the $250,000 in fines. That's via the commercial appeal, the Memphis commercial appeal. Tim McMahon is the one saying that I will sign his jersey myself and hang it on the wall. By the way, Kyrie just said he wasn't in the right headspace or something. It's just Kyrie excuse. He said maybe next time he'll do it. That's me. When my kid asks me for something, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe next time. Yeah, we'll get dessert next time. Dillon Brooks on Kyrie Irving on his game. Again, this is a quote that was dropped in our Patreon only Slack that I thought had to be fake. Like I was like, have you been ball sacked? This is not a real quote. There's video of this quote. Okay, I've seen the video. Dillon Brooks, when describing Kyrie Irving, he said, quote, "Mid-range God." And that's where I want to be at one day, be able to shoot the ball more.
No!
Kudos to you. Dillon Brooks talking about how one day he hopes to shoot the ball more. That is unrestricted free agent Dillon Brooks, whose life aspirations are to shoot the ball more. Thank you, Dillon Brooks. That's my best thing.
Kudos.
What's your best thing?
I've got to recover from the threat you just made, the threat Dillon just made. It's so funny because all week, if you're following radio and podcast shows, everybody's like, yeah, I think Dillon's like, I think he wants to get, I think he's trying to get down to like 6 shots a game. Wrong again. He's not trying to get down to anything.
No, I mean, again, he has gotten his shot attempts down, but he doesn't want that. By the way, can I just say something? I mentioned the producer of Rise and Grinds on the show earlier. He just texted me. He said, look at that. Oh. Look at that. The universe coming together / my AI on my phone, listening to me, monitoring me, generating a fake text message just like that. It's terrifying.
Tell him you want to bring the boy on. My best is, it's a weird one because we've dumped on this team for most of the year. And it's not been the greatest year, but it seems to be kind of rounding back. But Raptors frisky? Question mark?
I placed a significant wager on them to make the playoffs. So please keep winning, Raptors. Yeah, they've been good. Even their losses, they lost to the Bucks.
Teams like the Bucks. Yeah,
the Bucks go. Giannis going nuts. Yeah,
they I of course saw them playing my second baby, the Nuggets, and they sunned them. Wasn't really they kind of just clamped down the entire game. I don't know. I like what I see when you beat, Nuggets, Thunder, Timberwolves hanging there with the Bucks. From what I was expecting from you, I'm pretty excited that maybe there will be some more Raptors fun for us because this is a roster that's super fun to watch. They're not like any other team. I want to see what kind of noise they can make, especially since like every player they put out there, I'm like, Interesting.
Well,
Like
so
they're it's, you know, this is Messiah. It's just a roster full of interesting players, and they look like, if we were handicapping the East, like, I would love to pick a trendy Raptors upset right now.
The 538 says they have a 0.6% chance of making the finals. It only gives them a 22% chance of making the playoffs because these teams are all packed together. That's something, again, huge, massive success for the league and in the play-in. This
When
year's
they
play-in
take
in both conferences is amazing.
take 2 games off of a pouty Celtics team, I'm gonna have talked myself into this.
Oh, when the Raptors go up 1-0 on the Celtics, yeah, it's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fantastic. The Bulls, like, look out.
Right.
DeMar DeRozan doing some stuff. Like, the Bulls playing pretty solidly. You're
presaging my worst of the week, which is the end of Joel Embiid's 12-game winning streak over the Bulls.
Yes,
the Bulls.
but you got that East play-in.
There's gonna be a lot of Bulls talk.
Raptors,
show, shout out Kelly
Hawks, Bulls, and Heat.
Yeah, who you got?
Although the Heat are now within a half game of the Nets.
Right.
And honestly,
they're going to catch them.
I think they're going to catch them.
Yeah.
Are the Nets going to find themselves all the way out of the play-in? It pains me to say. It's the hipster darling team for NBA podcasters with Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson and Dorian Finney-Smith and all those guys doing their thing.
Yeah, I think they suck. Sorry.
I think they're mediocre.
Yeah.
But it is really good for them.
I think actually they lost 5 straight.
No. 4 straight, actually. So 4 straight. Yeah. Whoopsie on me. The opposite of kudos to me. It's now whoopsie to me. The Nets.
I mean, even their losses, even their wins, they like are barely winning.
It would work out for them to miss the postseason and to end up in the lottery.
You can't do this, Keith. You built a career on not doing this.
I know. Well, no, I've always said you should try to win until you run into the wall of, like, well, we're done. Portland Trailblazer style. Portland's going to shut everything down. They're unplugging all the life support machines. Jeremy Grant, Damian Lillard, Yusuf Nurkic, if those guys are playing in a week, I will be surprised. They're pulling out all the stops. What's your guy? Don't they have a Vol? Is Keon Johnson on that team still?
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, Keon Johnson's going to start racking up. If either you or me survive this bloody iShop semifinal matchup, whoever survives probably needs to roster Keon Johnson.
I've been undone.
Yeah. Anyways,
I think Keon is elsewhere now. Is he on the?
He's on the Trailblazers. You're thinking about James Springer on the Sixers. That's what you're thinking about. I know it.
Right.
What were we talking about? The Nets. The Nets ending up in the lottery. The Nets ending up in the lottery.
Going here.
Yes, they have a pick swap with Houston.
Okay.
But Houston is going to be a top 5, top 6 pick no matter what. Would it be painful if the Nets ended up in the lottery and then with their 5% shot or 2% shot at Wembanyama, they give Wembanyama to the Rockets? Yes, that would be painful.
Be funny though.
And it would be funny, but that would mean the Nets would end up with a top 6 pick.
Yes.
You know, like they then would give that to the Rockets, but they still get the Rockets pick. They get the swap, and the Rockets right now, as the standings are, can't fall any lower than 6. Like, what if it was Rockets 1, Nets 2? I mean, like, or any of the top 4, 5, that could be a huge win for the Nets. So again, I'm not encouraging losing on purpose when you're in the play-in range. I mean, you're in the playoff range, but I do have to acknowledge it wouldn't be the worst thing for the Nets if they fell all the way out. So by the way, what is your prognostication? Did you want to handicap that? Who are the 8 playoff teams going to be in the East, or / who are the 7 and 8 seeds going to be?
It's wildly different doing the East as opposed to the West, just because the East is so much better.
Yes.
But it is top heavy. Like, once you get into, I think there's like there's tiers here. I think it's, the top 3, which I will handicap as, I'll have Milwaukee, let's say, and it's going to sound like I love the Suns more, but these are percentages, people. Let's do Milwaukee at 35%.
Oh, you're just doing the tie. That's fine. I want to know your 7 and 8 seeds, but fine. All right.
7 and 8 seeds.
No, let's do your coming out of the East. Sure, Milwaukee.
Okay,
that's fine. Go and do
Milwaukee
it.
at like 35%. I'll go Philadelphia next at like 8%, 10%.
Okay,
10%, because I think Boston and Philly are about the same. No, that leaves too much to the field.
Yeah, you're blowing my mind.
We got to do more.
You're blowing my mind.
Yeah, I'll do like 20. I'll give 20% to Boston and Philly, and then I think you can split. I think there's a world in which, like some sort of like Cleveland or the Knicks are in a tier that could make noise. It would be very unlikely for them to come out, but they could make noise. And then we have this morass of fun play and stuff where if you're going to make me choose a 7 and 8, I'll take Miami and the Raptors.
Yeah, I think honestly, it's going to come down. I think I do believe Miami will probably get. I mean, they might get to the 6. So then, if Miami gets to the 6, who are you picking between? If you have to pick 2 teams between the Nets, Hawks, Raptors, and Bulls, you're going Raptors and who else? Raptors and Hawks?
I really want to say Bulls, especially because I'm going to talk about them some more later on the show, but I probably would still take the Hawks.
So it's hard for the Nets are almost certainly not going to end up in the 9 or 10. So they will have a built-in advantage to making the postseason. I'm going to say my 7 and 8. I'm going to include the Nets. I'm going to say the Nets are going to make it, and it's going to come down to a DeMar DeRozan last-second shot between the Bulls and the Raptors, and I don't know which way it's going to go. So I think it's either one.
As long as Christian Coloco's involved, all aboard.
I think the Hawks are going to lose horribly. I think it's going to be an embarrassing something. A Trae Young 2 for 14, 6 turnover affair. My Eastern Conference.
The play-in changes the math so much because you're no longer talking about a series,
right?
And it just makes it so insane,
right?
Which I love it. I mean,
it's incredible. It's going to be incredible.
It adds this March Madness element that is just empirically better as a watcher. Does it tell you which team is better? Absolutely not.
To win the East, I have Milwaukee 50%, Boston 32%, Sixers 18%, everybody else 0%.
So you're not buying into the Boston free fall, quote unquote?
No.
Not at all. Fair enough.
No, all I care is they were the best team for the first half of the season. Good enough. Yeah, who cares? I'm not worried about them at all, really. Those were our best things. The opposite of our best thing is our worst thing. What's the worst thing you saw in the last week?
So essentially, I've already talked about it a little bit, but let's keep it going. Like, I have really enjoyed the Bulls Celtics series of pain, or Bulls Sixers series of pain with Joel Embiid coming out on top.
Yes, yeah,
over and over and over again. Yet not all, like, it hasn't been like they just destroyed them. The games have been fun, and then finally for it to end the way that it did, and was it double overtime?
It was.
And with Embiid fouling out, so it kind of keeps the story alive.
Cleared. Yeah, Embiid didn't get to play. Why do we still have foul outs? No one can tell me. Embiid wasn't on the court. Does it even count? Feels fishy.
I think it counts. You got to stay out there. But I don't know. Despite the Bulls, being a play-in team, they're still so frisky and so fun. And I like basketball when the Bulls are relevant. I don't know why. Maybe it's a childhood thing. But I'm sad that, like, I was ready to ride that streak into next season and talk about it into the playoffs. Like,
anytime a good
that could have been
snaps.
a cool story.
It's sad,
for the playoffs. Yeah. And I also just like that, like, Embiid cares about weird stuff like that, like the old players used to, which I think they still do. But he, like, openly cares about things like win streaks over the Bulls and winning MVP.
Well, I like how you compared those two things.
In my world,
streak over the Bull. I'll be named most valuable player.
He has a they're about the same hierarchy at the way.
Here's my worst thing. It's not specifically. It's NBA adjacent.
Okay.
I was traveling last week, and I have a favorite pair of shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball shorts. They're Nuggets shorts. I have those pretty expensive, like Nuggets, Mitchell and Ness, rainbow.
NBA shorts cost like $110.
So much money. And we were traveling, and I've said before on the show how when I travel, I like to unpack. I like to put everything in drawers. I like to hang my stuff in the closet. I want to put my suitcase away. I am a slob at home. On the road, I like to clean up a little bit, like to pick up a little bit. Anyways, I put my nugget shorts in a drawer. And then after we leave this hotel we're staying at, I wake up the next night with the start, much like Catherine O'Hara in Home Alone, realizing like, wait,
nugget shorts.
My nugget shorts are in the dresser. And it was middle of the night. I sent it. I fire off an email that night to the hotel, to the concierge.
They're gone.
And then the next day I wake up, I call them. I'm like, hey, it's like I knew specifically where they were. I'm like, hey, this is the bottom drawer, the bottom drawer of the dresser. There's some nugget shorts. There's some black like track pants, just like not even good clothes, not clothes anyone would want to steal. I'm like, they're in there. They're on the. I tell them the route number. They're like, oh, we haven't had anything turned in. I'm like, all right, can you call me back if you find them? I'm like, all right. And then they don't call me back. I call them back. I'm like, hey, now I'm into weird customer service, Keith. I'm like, hey,
yeah,
have you been to the room and opened the drawer? And they were like, I didn't say it in that tone. And
I don't believe you.
They're like, yeah, the housekeeping, their checklist is to look at.
Look, man, that is the cleaning lady's husband's weekend pants now.
Well, so I was like, did the housekeeping staff wanted my nugget shorts? Like, why do they want my nugget shorts? These weren't good clothes. I mean, technically, maybe they knew the value. But so, like, they're gone, and they're just gone. And I thought knowing exactly where they were, I thought being able to call the hotel and be like, hey, room 263, bottom drawer. And they were like, no, nothing's been turned in. So I'm crestfallen. I'm sad, and I feel like that is actually affecting the Nuggets. And I feel like they can also tell that something's not right in the universe. And like, now what am I supposed to buy more?
Has it affected your fandom? Because I feel like if I lost a very significantly expensive piece of memorabilia and it was one of my only pieces, it would move them down a few rungs to something that I had more memorabilia for.
Do I, on my taxes, do I write this off as lost to theft? Is that a thing on your taxes? I don't even know if it is.
I don't think so.
It should be.
That'd be something like you just throw it away.
Hey, John,
lost to theft.
Hey, John, can you come steal my car? I need it for my.
You're talking to the wrong guy.
Yeah, talking to the wrong Fastbreak Breakfast.
I got cars at the bottom of the lakes,
of lakes
near the Nickajack Dam.
I've heard more than one person tell stories similar to that.
Giant catfish down there.
Those were our worst things. Before we get to the awards segment of the program, I believe we have time for maybe a single listener question. The croissant questionnaire.
Which one do you want to do?
Actually, let's do looking at our croissants. Let's do this justified question, and then maybe one more.
Darius Window, who attended our most recent watch party, thank you very much. He says, question for Master John Burr, but maybe he doesn't know that you are also a huge fan of this show.
Yeah. Can I just say, Darius Window, deeply offended by not being included in this question.
Given your love of Justified, which for those who don't know is a FX show that we're about to talk about on our NBA podcast, starring Timothy Oliphant, Waylon Goggins, and for some reason Patton Oswalt. But given your love of Justified, I think
just briefly,
I think we too much. I think we all know that worst guest star, Patton Oswalt or Michael Rappaport.
Well, the story it's obviously Michael Rappaport, but isn't the story of Michael Rappaport that someone dropped out like the week of filming?
I don't know.
Like I think they booked a different guest star, like Michael Madsen or something, and
different picture.
And then they left to do like a movie or something.
How many people have to drop out before you get to Michael Rappaport playing a Cajun man?
Michael Rappaport as the giant Cajun man did not work for me.
I've got to do the question. Given your love of Justified, I think we all know that Dillon the Villain Brooks is Walter Goggins / Boyd Crowder of the league. Who is his Timothy Oliphant / Raylan Givens? Bonus, who are the league's Dewey Crow and Wynn Duffy? Yep. First of all, I reject your hypothesis.
Yes.
Because not only is Dillon Brooks not Boyd Crowder, that would make Draymond Green Raylan Givens, and I cannot live in this world. I think Dillon Brooks is a very clear Dewey Crow.
He is the Dewey Crow. So Dewey Crow, if you don't know Justified very well, he is the
wild-haired maniac.
Comic relief, absolutely beyond stupid, dumb. Not that I'm saying Dillon Brooks is those things. The character of Dewey Crow is hilariously unintelligent.
But he is a glue guy. He is a glue guy.
He's a great character. He's a criminal. He's an overt bad guy who is so dumb he's hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah. So Dillon cannot be the Boyd Crowder because there is no. This is the whole thing with the Dillon Brooks thing. There is no protagonist to antagonist Dillon Brooks. There is no like, is Kyrie the good guy? No. Is Draymond the good guy? No. Like there isn't it, right? There isn't. Is Donovan Mitchell's groin the good guy? I don't know. Like who? There is no good guy. Klay Thompson is not the good guy.
No.
Dillon Brooks does not have a counterpart, right?
Dillon Brooks? I mean,
I'm saying there's no opposite. There's no good force. Is it just? I mean, he's widely disliked, so he's just the populace. But there's no like, is it Steph Curry? Because Steph Curry is universally beloved generally, unless you want affordable housing.
I mean, if you force me into this, then that works. But I think like if we're gonna do Dillon Brooks, if we're gonna do Walt Goggins and Timothy Oliphant, I think you just go straight to the Jokic Embiid thing.
Who's who?
That's the question.
That's just all your perspective.
To me, like Embiid with they're both have a sardonic wit.
Yeah.
But I would say that Walton's has a little more element of danger to his game. And okay, hear me out. As the protagonist of like a noirish television program, a pulpy television program.
Yeah.
Often injured and in danger is Timothy Oliphant. Raylan Givens sounds like Jokic to me. Constantly bleeding from the arms.
Yeah.
And then like
that's more Jokic.
When it comes to the clutch, I mean, I would take Jokic over Embiid in a clutch situation, wouldn't you?
I think they're very comparable. I think this is the shootout where it's a tie type thing.
Yeah.
From the Justified series. I'm now trying to deal with who's a Win Duffy. So Win Duffy is this oily, slick, also amazing character, guy who lives in an RV who's like a criminal boss.
But he's like not.
He's the guy pulling the strings. Yeah,
he's kind of the type of guy I think would jump onto a announcing table after winning a playing game. So I'm going to give it to Pat Beverly.
All right.
I think here's what I want to know. Let's dig deep. Who's your Tim Gutterson?
Oh.
Keith?
Is that the other
sniper?
Marshall? The Marshall,
the
sniper Marshall. I would say for me, it's got to be one of my favorite NBA players.
Kyle Anderson.
I think it would be Melton. I think it would have to be Melton.
Okay, yeah.
Every character on Justified is so good, which is again why the show is popular and beloved.
Favorite Justified villain? Go. Can't say Walt Goggins. And if you did say it, it's wrong, anyways. Do you have one? Or is it too hard?
I mean, I have the Jeremy Davis character on my mind. Probably my favorite.
You kind of like are an elongated Jeremy Davis.
I am very similar. I can look like him if I want to.
I've seen you have
honestly,
that haircut.
if Win Duffy counts, Win Duffy's maybe my favorite character on the whole show. So like, he's not like an overt like bad boss or boss villain per season. But who's yours?
It's really hard. I'm stuck between. Is it Michael T or Mikkel T Williamson?
Oh yeah. He's great. Yeah.
I'm stuck between Bubba Gump and then.
But he was
Neil McDonough. He has the piercing blue eyes.
Neil McDonough's so good.
I think I'll probably say Robert Quarles.
I gotta go back to. I gotta add more Justified rewatches into my life. Let's real quick do this one last question. Let's do this from Roko's Basilisk. Basilisk? How do we say that? Worst mistake, Mavs not re-signing Brunson or the Gobert trade. This is a good one.
So I think Rudy Gobert has been a little unfairly maligned and has been a good player for the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
I know that there are long and far-reaching, ramifications from trading away those picks. But the Mavs have completely destroyed themselves. And it all goes back. And they've destroyed themselves while they have maybe the best playoff style player that we have And that you can't the Wolves, this could all work out. For the Mavs, I feel like they have destroyed it.
I mean,
and the answer was in their front pocket.
Yeah, the
guy scored 40 in the playoffs.
It's an own goal. It's a
yes.
It's a Dewey Crow shooting himself in the foot. It's like it's just what in the world. I can't remember if that happened in the Justified Universe or not, but it seemed like it would have.
Metaphorically, shot himself in many places.
Right. The Mavericks basically a title contender every season, you'd think, with Luka, and they had Jalen Brunson, and all they had to do was give him a reasonable contract and then just pay him the current contract, which, by the way, has turned out to be a reasonable contract. But they messed it up. And so they lost him for nothing. And thus they've now made a wild play, a desperate play for Kyrie Irving. They've done the Kyrie Irving gambit, which has failed for many, many teams. And if they're all healthy, which is if everyone keeps throwing out whenever Kyrie's around anywhere, they seem like they could actually come out of the West. But
they did the thing where, like, you can't explain, like, to the layman, the Kyrie transaction sounds stupid. Like, that's one where everyone with an NBA opinion was like, oh, that's going to be bad.
But it could work.
Yeah. Whereas the other one, it's like, add the best defender to a team that struggles with defense. That's a defensible maneuver.
Well, so the Timberwolves one,
I think about what they gave up.
I think it's about what they gave up. It's about what they cost themselves in the future, and it's about not realizing maybe where they were as a franchise. When your best player is he 21 or 22, however old Anthony Edwards is, he's got a decade left of being one of the best players in the league. And then you look at what they gave up, not just in the draft picks, but the actual players. When you look at Walker Kessler being great, Walker Kessler abusing Domantas Sabonis in the fourth quarter of the Jazz's huge win over the Kings. Walker Kessler, who has like double the blocks. And although the more blocks for Kessler, Tony Jones, beat writer for the Jazz, made a good point. He made a good point of like, no one goes at Gobert anymore. They're all going at Kessler.
Yeah, that's an insane. That's one of those things where it's like, what are you saying?
But when you look at what the Timberwolves have, and you're like, you could have Walker Kessler and Jared Vanderbilt back and all your picks. It's like, is clearly better. But maybe the Mavs.
Okay, so on one side you got Danny Ainge. On the other side, you Danny Ainge yourself. Like, you didn't have to. No one swindled you out of Jalen Brunson. You could have done it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I get what I understand.
I understand both
Maybe
positions.
There's a more terrible effect to losing all those picks.
Also, if
versus
Kyrie
just a guy walking in free agency, I understand that is probably empirically worse, losing all those picks. However, watching your guy that scored 40 points in the playoffs go to the Knicks, and instantly the Knicks
are awesome.
Transformed and awesome.
Just be awesome.
And you are going to be in the damned play-in after adding a quote-unquote all-star. That's devastating.
I can't answer the question. It's I understand both sides. If I'm assigned a team in debate club, I guess I can go for that. But yeah, honestly, I don't know what to do.
I'll go with the Brunson thing is more devastating. How do you come back from that?
Yeah. Anyways, thanks for the question, guys. If you want your question answered on air, you have to become a Patreon supporter. Do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. You support the show. Also, you can join our Slack channel where we talk about basketball, movies, and you get a real opinion, not fit for air. So if you want to get involved with all that, support the program, do it at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. It is now time for the awards segment of the program, the International Stackhouse of Pancakes Award, given to the worst performer in a box score for the week. We have some honorable mentions. Dennis Smith Jr. was 1 for 10. Kelly Oubre 2 for 12. Jason Tatum 4 for 16. Jamal Murray 5 for 18. Our three nominees for the worst shooting performances of the last week, as they occurred chronologically through the last week, Zach LaVine is first up. Zach LaVine, in a loss to the Kings, a close loss to the Kings, was 7 for 22. Very Stackhausian. He did manage 25 points, had 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 turnovers, 0 personal fouls. Perhaps try. Damian Lillard in one of his final games of the season. That's my prediction. It was a loss to the Clippers. He was 4 for 17, also managed 21 points, 21 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 4 turnovers, 0 personal fouls. Perhaps try. And then finally, James Harden in the loss that snapped Joel Embiid's perfect record against the Chicago Bulls. James Harden was 2 for 14, 5 points, 12 assists, 7 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, 5 turnovers, 2 personal fouls. So we have Zach LaVine, 7 for 22, 25 points, 6 assists. Damian Lillard, 4 for 17, 21 points, 9 assists. James Harden, 2 for 14, 5 points, 12 assists. Also 5 turnovers.
I like that Harden line.
It's a runaway for Harden. Yeah, yep. Runaway for Harden. Yeah, 2 for 14. Also,
and a welcome back.
I mean, I will say good job, James Harden, for ethically missing all your shots and not getting to the foul line.
Are you ready for James Harden and Dillon Brooks to have identical stat lines in the playoffs and for you to praise one and besmirch the other?
Well, I mean, if they have identical stat lines, who wins that contest, John?
I don't know.
I don't think Ty goes to the greatest player of all time, does it? I mean, one of the top 50 players of all time. If Dillon Brooks matches that output, yeah. I mean, I don't care how bad Harden is. That's a win.
Isn't it weird how Harden's most memorable playoff plays are defensive plays too? So weird.
All I remember are the 0 for quarters. Anyways, it's now time. This show is now just about Dillon Brooks. That's all.
Kudos to us.
All Fastbreak Breakfast is now. It's Dillon Brooks podcast, and we have the segment "Kudos to Me," where in honor of Dillon Brooks, we praise something about ourselves. What's your kudos to me, John?
I probably misspoke in an earlier segment on the show at the beginning of the season when I said that I thought Pat Beverly would be an impact player this season. I meant that Pat Beverly would be an impact player on his second team this season.
Oh, kudos to you.
So kudos to me for knowing that he would turn the Bulls season around.
Yeah, been a great little pickup for, I don't mean that pejoratively, nice pickup for the Bulls. Here's my kudos to me. Last week, my par fadeaway was about some of the awesome virtual playoff games or games that were in effect going to change the standings. And I said, I'm looking forward to this unbelievable playoff game, Mavericks Lakers on Saturday night. It was, or Friday night. It was incredible. The Maxi Kleber game, the buzzer beater, the Lakers collapsing and blowing a 4-point lead in the final seconds, buzzer beater. Kudos to me calling that one. That was an awesome game. Anyway, par fadeaway, John, what thing are you looking forward to in the coming week?
It's hard for me to focus on anything other than the Vols getting to play FAU in the next round of the March Madness. So I'll just stick with that. It's such a beautiful thing when you get your team lined up for unmitigated disaster, laughingstock level loss in the tournament. So beautiful.
So I remember
filled with dread.
But I remember back when I was very passionate about college basketball. Where
are you not back? Did the number 1 seed not bring you back?
No, you did not apologize to me for last week being like player to watch in the tournament. Zach Edey from Purdue. you told me to do that, John. That man got upset by a team full of 6'1" guys.
Have you ever seen a player more surrounded by church league guys in your life?
When you watch Purdue a college basketball game and you come away from it thinking you could have helped,
yeah.
I watched the end of that Purdue game. I'm like, these are the worst guards I've ever seen in my life. What's
those
happening?
Hot potato games where nobody wanted the ball.
You know, their coach was like, hustle, take charges.
They keep showing Zach Edey's mom, and she
use
looks like
their
the lady
size against
from
them.
Get Out. No. So bad, dude.
Oh man! Also, the way Ben Affleck treated the officials on the way back, inexcusable.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of poorly treating the officials, according to Tom Haberstroh, Ben Taylor, the referee Ben Taylor, not the illustrious podcaster, content creator Ben Taylor, the referee Ben Taylor has been demoted. He's been moved to a lower rung in the NBA officiating spheres. I see how I was going to work in that sphere perfectly, and I misspoke and stumbled over the words. After Fred VanVleet got mad at Ben Taylor, apparently Ben Taylor there's been some consequences where Ben Taylor hasn't been good.
Man, dude, you know, we just watched a game where Davis Bertans played a crucial, pivotal role due to eye shop stakes.
Yeah.
And did you notice Tony Brothers like stare him down and get in his face?
Did you see Tony Brothers like hugging and laughing with Jason Kidd before the game?
What's going on here?
I noticed that. Anyways, my parfait away, John. I've seen the future.
Okay.
I've seen a sports presentation, which is unquestionably the future of everything.
Is this playback?
No, it's not playback. So like, playback is great.
Yeah.
Love playback. Playback, we use it, and I'm like, this is the future, and it's almost perfect. It's almost.
Is this the cartoon stuff?
This is the cartoon stuff I was texting you
about. Oh, okay. I don't think you actually texted me about it. I called this.
Oh, you're okay.
From afar because it is really cool.
So my kids, 5 and 8 years old, don't care that much about sports. I've tried to get them with the Grizzlies. They now sort of watch basketball, but they don't really care. They thought I showed them the Maxi Kleber buzzer beater, and they loved it because of the dog pile afterwards, where everyone jumped on each other. They're like, this is incredible. And I'm getting so excited. Like, oh, I'm getting my kids into sports. I'm hooking them on sports. But they're not into sports. They just want to watch Disney Plus cartoons all day. Disney Plus did a thing where they televised a hockey game live, and they overlaid characters from this popular animated series called Big City Greens.
Oh, I didn't know that's where they were from. That makes so much more sense now.
And they showed a Rangers Capitals game, and this thing is 3 hours long.
Yeah.
My 5 and 8 year old have been watching it for days.
Yeah.
First of all, I didn't know what it was. I'm like, what are y'all watching? And they're like, oh, it's a hockey game. I'm like, this is a real hockey game? They're like, I don't know. They're showing the hockey action, but it's turned into like a video game cartoon where you have all the normal players, but it's like animated versions of the players playing. But then they've also inserted the characters from the TV show in. And I don't even know a hockey player's name, but they're like, right now, grandma is this player, to let you know that that's an actual player. They put the characters like as the goalies. And my kids, again, has spent days watching a 3-hour broadcast of a real sporting event that happened. But it's not just like the Nickelodeon, you put slime over the football game. They've like overlaid an entire cartoon, and it's interesting, it's riveting, and children love it. And I'm just like, is basketball going to do this next? Like, they got my kids to watch a 3-hour hockey game. They've never watched a hockey game in their whole lives. And I was blown away by the technology. I was wondering, like, is it not?
It was very work? Seemed like it was happening in real time.
It happened in real time.
Yeah, like it seems like no delay.
Yeah, they didn't watch it in real time because
I had multiple people send this to me as it was happening who don't care about hockey.
Mind blowing.
Don't care about cartoons.
How is the NBA like? The NBA has to do this. It's similar to Twitch, where it felt like you were watching a video game, because it's like, all right, this is cool, but it was real. It was actually happening. And then I'm like,
I think the NBA can't do it because of instant replay.
No, they even had breaks.
The kids will turn it off.
This is not a great sign for my kids. My kids were sitting through blank commercial breaks when it said event in progress. And I'm like, hey, you can fast forward that.
Oh, dude. I've looked over at my child watching TV and just drool dripping from her face.
But like, this is the future of sports. If you can get kids to watch a 3-hour hockey game, like, what is the NBA doing to make this happen? Because they need to, because you can just do NBA Jam animations. If Donovan Mitchell posterizes you to Watanabe, why don't make the cartoon version even more incredible? Do the on fire stuff. Like, you could add so many things, and so many people would watch this. I would flip over and watch this. Like, I was blown away by this magic. So I've seen the future. The NHL and Disney have done it. Will ESPN add this to the NBA? Someone's got to. Steve Ballmer's got to add this to Clipper Vision, because I thought it was incredible, and my young children thought it was incredible. So I've seen the future, and maybe it's not good for the basketball purists, but it was awesome. Anyways, I look forward to hopefully NBA getting involved with more of that. Anyways, if you want to support our show, again, do that at patreon.com/fastbreakbreakfast. Don't miss Journey and Toto coming to the FedEx Forum on April 1st. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster.com or the FedEx Forum box office. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also subscribe to the Grits and Grinds YouTube channel. You guys are the best. Thanks for listening. And remember, breakfast is the most important thing.
I will remember